That thumbnail is horrible. Hello. We're going to wait a little bit longer here since I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out, and we'll get a little more people online. Can everybody hear me? Is that working all right? I'm assuming everybody can see me, at least. Okay. Hello. Okay. I have no idea what any of this. Oh, that's weird. Okay, I can see myself on my desktop. All right, there we go. Yeah, hit 500 subs. What was it? Probably about a month ago at this point. Thanks. But all right, we got 7 people here. So yeah, I'll go ahead and just, I guess, start this. Thank you, everybody who's online right now for watching. This is the 500 subscriber live stream. I said I would do that basically once I hit 500 subscribers. I know it took a while for me to get around to actually doing the stream, but between 3 classes and working a full-time internship, it's kind of tricky to squeeze that in. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. Basically, this is just kind of going to be question and answer type thing. I can answer questions about past videos, future videos, kind of what the plan is once I graduate, because I graduate in December, and that's kind of going to not necessarily change the channel a little bit. That's definitely going to affect some things. So yeah. So I see the first question in the chat bar here is how the city bus system is well, I'm in Houston, Texas right now, so I don't see the city bus system every day, but I do have somebody down there that kind of keeps me updated. The latest thing really out of that is they've been wrapping buses. It looks like they're preparing the older 2002 through 2005s, maybe even some 2007s for retirement. I know the hybrids 1501 and 1502 have been out of service a lot lately, and they've been filling in with some newer buses on the connector route. The subway buses 1402 and 1403 just got 2 more wrapped in that same wrap. 4006 and 4007 now have the subway catering 2017 wrap, so I'm assuming that's what they will, those 2 buses will replace 1402 and 1403 when they eventually retire them. What's the worst car wash I've been through? Probably the worst physical wash. Oh God. I actually have to go back to my YouTube channel and see which ones I've uploaded. But the ones I think of off the top of my head was probably the Soft Gloss XS in Monticello, because that actually tore the bumper off my car just because it completely lost positioning, kept moving forward, and hooked it just right. Now, a little side note is that bumper was an aftermarket bumper. When my dad had that car, he got rear-ended. And so they just used clips to put it in instead of bolts. So if it was actually bolted in, it probably would have stayed on. But it didn't in that case. But then there have definitely been some other ones that I've had issues with. One being the soft gloss. I think that was an XS2. That was at that Speedway in Munster that when I was taking my sister's car in for a wash, it actually went all the way behind the system, put the front arms in, and kept moving forward. And thankfully, there's that safety stop there that once it detects too much pressure, it moves back, retracts, and deploys the emergency rinse. Worst value? That would probably have to be the Rayco one. Yeah, because that was not, I don't even remember how much I paid for that, but that was not that great. How many car washes have I been through? Unique ones that I've uploaded to YouTube, 66. Probably total unique ones that I've gone through that I haven't filmed just before I started filming them. Probably not much more, honestly. Maybe around 70 or so. But there's been a few that I've been wanting to hit. I'm supposed to do a revisit of the world's longest car wash here soon out at Buc-ee's in Katy. Purchased a wash and went to go film it, and it was out of service. So I've got to use that up before I leave. That'll probably happen here soon. So yeah, about 70 car washes I've probably been through, and then 66 unique ones that have been uploaded to YouTube. All right. Any other questions anybody has? Have I been through a Mark 7 Aquajet? No, I haven't. I've kind of wanted to find one of those, but I haven't seen anyone's near where I've been. That'd definitely be one I want to hit. So if there's one in the Houston area that people know about, definitely let me know, and I'll try and find one. I have not been through a Ryco Radius either. I'm going to guess there's some in Houston. I've got a map. Oh, JK, the one I click on that's Ryco touch-free is out all the way in Mokina, Illinois. But I'm assuming there's definitely some radiuses around here. It's just a matter of finding them and going through. Yeah, California. I've only been there once way back in 2015, and I'll probably honestly never be there with my own car to film a wash, just because I don't really have any purpose to be there. Yeah, Houston has a ton of soft glosses, and a lot of them are actually being replaced. Let me turn this down. I don't know how loud you guys can hear that Lake County scanner in the background. But yeah, there's a ton of Ryco systems out here. And they just replaced that horrible Mark 7 that bent my license plate up last year with the Soft Gloss Max 5, which that was cool to go through, my first Max 5 system. Houston also just tends to have a lot of older machinery anyways, or stuff that doesn't look like it's upkept as well. Definitely driving around, you see some of these washes. There's a few that aren't on my map that I've seen that I haven't gone to yet, but might visit in the future. It's just some of them don't look like they're very trustworthy. And the car I have now, I got a year and a half ago, so I'm not necessarily ready to take a risk with different washes. Have I rode the Houston Metro bus? I have not. Where I'm at, I don't really have a need to. I can walk to work, so I haven't had a need to take it. If I did, where I work, they cover some of the bus fare, if not all of it, depending on how far out you live. But haven't had a need to use it, so I have not. But they got a lot of Novas. I do need to ride the green link, though. I should ride the green link before I leave, or the orange link, because they're free. And they're the cutest little Gilligs. They're little 30-foot BRT pluses, and they're CNG. And so I like the CNG buses a lot. So I'll probably have to try and snag a ride on some of those before I get out of here. What editing software do I use? I use Premiere Pro CS6. I had to make a custom custom sequence in order to support the 4K footage that the Lumix shoots now. The Washworld Razor video did export in 4K. However, the sequence was not set to 4K. That's why it was all cropped and weird like that. But I don't have any foreseeable plans to upgrade to Creative Cloud. I don't want to pay for the subscription. If I can continue to use Premiere Pro CS6 for the foreseeable future, that's what I'm going to use. Because it doesn't cost me anything to use right now, and I don't have to deal with $20 or however much a month Adobe wants me to pay to do the Creative Cloud. Would I recommend CS6? If you can definitely get it cheap, yeah, it's a very, very, I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but it's a very well-known software. It's very good. It's got everything you need to do, even if you're just doing basic cuts. It's got audio transitions. You can kind of make different titles with it. That title that I have at the beginning of the videos now, that was made in Premiere Pro. Ideally, if I were to actually sit down, put time in it to make a nice video intro, I'd probably use After Effects. You can do a lot more cool stuff there, but Premiere Pro is definitely very good software. They shot and edited all of Deadpool using Adobe Creative Cloud. So it's well-known software. It's just unfortunately the latest version has a stupid subscription module, and Adobe's raised their prices. What's the name of the software? Adobe Premiere Pro CS6. And it's part of the Master Collection Suite. You don't have to buy the Master Collection Suite. You can, I think, buy individual apps. But it's no longer for sale on their website because they haven't actually supported it, God, for 4 or 5 years almost now. What is my favorite bus? In the city bus system, it's 3314, the 2014 35-foot low floor, because it's the unique one in a time where City Bus was purchasing all the different hybrids and then starting to move towards CNG fueled buses. I actually asked the fleet manager what the deal was with 2014. They basically just ran out of funding to purchase another hybrid, to purchase the BRT package. So it is the newest old school bus. It's a low floor, 35-foot, so it has no BRT styling whatsoever, and it's diesel, and it's 2014. So it's got LED headlights, LED turn signals, and the nice white signage. But out of the entire City Bus fleet, that's probably my favorite bus, just because it's a throwback to kind of City Bus's original low floor, which was 1001. That 98 with the Cummins ISC. What camera do I use? I use the Panasonic Lumix. I forget its exact model number. The FZ300. I just purchased it probably about a month ago with a Boya MM1 mic. Just got these. That way, filming sirens, I can get better quality when I'm zoomed in. This does have less optical zoom than the Sonys I was using before. I do still use the pair of Sonys, the HDR or the CX405 and the 415, I think, is the two Sonys I have. They're both identical in terms of specs. One just has wireless transfer, the other doesn't. I was using those for probably about a year, but I just purchased this so I can do 4K. The mount just mics via the hotshot plug up at the top here. So that was definitely something I was looking for while purchasing a new camera. So you can just pop it on and screw it on and it stays put. You can attach other accessories with this, probably external flashes like a lightning sensor or something if I wanted to, but bought this camera for that attachment so I could do microphone support as well as shoot 4K video, so just improve the overall quality of my videos. Yeah, City Bus definitely has a very unique, I wouldn't say necessarily unique, but it's a very neat system in the way that they run the fleet. They're very good on their maintenance. They're very good on running their buses longer than most other transit systems, and they've found creative ways to keep the quality of the maintenance they do up while decreasing their cost. If you look at Indiana's public transit report, they're actually like the lowest cost per mileage system out of the entire state. And a lot of that, I think, comes from just some of the preventative maintenance due and the creative ways they've thought about saving money. Like, for instance, in their paint booth, they have a paint booth, which is something paint booth in a body shop, which is something a lot of maintenance garages don't have anymore. But their paint booth has sprinklers in it, right, in case of any fire. But the paint that they use, when they're spraying the buses, can get up there, contaminate the little glass tube inside, and either make it, I can't remember what they said, make it more prone to failure or actually less prone to activating. So what they did was a very simple solution. They just took like those brown lunch bags, covered the sprinkler with it. That way the sprinkler still gets all the heat that it needs to activate, but the sprinkler also doesn't get covered. And that was inspected by the fire department, and the fire department said that's okay, versus spending thousands of dollars to retrofit that sprinkler system to actually be able to withstand the paint overspray. And then some of the other things, just in terms of their advancement of trying to find alternative fuels using the natural gas buses. They're one of the largest pushers of natural gas fuel in the state of Indiana, I believe. And with the hybrids, they adopted hybrids as soon as they could and had the funding for. And they've got the wind turbines at their facility to power, I think, up to 25%. And that number might increase now that they've been doing some renovations. So they got more efficient lighting and probably some other more efficient things as well. And going forward, I was just looking at some of their stuff the other day. They actually might be looking to move locations, move their headquarters, because they're expanding so much. And tying back into the body shop, that's where I was going to go, is they actually allow other transit agencies to send their buses up. So if Bloomington wrecks their bus with body damage, they can send it up to Lafayette, where City Bus will do all the body work for that bus, paint it, and get it back and ready to go. We got gasoline electric buses. Do you mean the hybrids? Or do you just mean pure electric? Pure electric. Okay. Yeah, I think that's something that the infrastructure isn't necessarily in place for right now, because I don't exactly know the range on those buses, but they just, at least the streets, like if it were to charge at a stop in Lafayette and West Lafayette, the streets aren't really set up to be able to handle that yet. But I can definitely ask and figure out what their plan is with electric buses, but I don't think that's going to happen for the foreseeable future, just from a cost standpoint and an infrastructure standpoint. I think they're still waiting for that natural gas compressor station they put in to pay off, and they're still looking for the return on that. But the reason they went to CNG is the cost was lower than a hybrid. It was slightly more than a standard diesel, but the fuel prices much, much lower, and the emissions, I haven't personally looked into these claims too much, but I know with CNG, apparently the emissions are a lot lower than what you would get out of a hybrid or a diesel, and that further advances their stance on trying to do their part in decreasing pollution. Does anybody else have any kind of questions they would like to ask? Gasoline electric New Flyer GE40LF. Let's figure out what that is. Motion prohibit? Oh, okay. So it's a hybrid. Instead of using gas, it uses, or instead of using diesel, it uses regular gasoline. Okay. I think that's another thing from an infrastructure standpoint. They don't have any regular gasoline pumps at their garage, to my knowledge. They have the diesel pump right before they put it into the wash, and then the CNG station just outside. Because most of their paratransit buses were diesel, and then now the paratransit buses are CNG as well. So to my knowledge, they have no regular gasoline infrastructure. Yeah, so I guess if nobody has any other questions, I can kind of talk about the future of this channel a little bit. So when I changed my name at the beginning of the year to Midwest CWS instead of Long's Car Wash and More, I kind of cornered myself if I were to move around for different jobs. So how often does City Bus run? I will answer that in just a second here. I'm going to finish this little story and then I can answer that. Mostly, actually, I'll just answer it now. Sunday through Saturday, so 7 days a week. Obviously, not every route operates every day of the week, but they have different hours. You can go to their website, gocitybus.com, or is it .org? Maybe. It's gocitybus.com, and you can view their entire schedule, but they usually have routes running every day. But hello from the UK. Pretty cool that I've got people watching from the UK. Where was I going? So with the naming, depending on where I end up when I have a job, the name might flip again, which I kind of really don't want to do. But currently, as it stands, I graduate in December, so I'd be looking at a full-time offer either starting right up in January or in March. And where I'm going to end up right now, I don't know. I'm working for Chevron currently, and they have locations in Pittsburgh, here in Houston, Midland, and California. Now, most of the work I do is done, at least with the team I'm on now, is being done in Midland and Houston. So if I were to return full-time with Chevron, I'd be in Houston or Midland. And there's nothing in Midland. I don't know how many car washes I can find in Midland. Midland has sirens. They do have sirens. They're the ATI, HPSS, whatever. Never filmed an ATI, so there's a unique chance to film a pretty crappy siren. Well, supposedly crappy siren. But Houston, if I'm in Houston, I have no sirens. I've only got car washes. So that puts me in a unique position with the naming would no longer fit. I'm no longer in the Midwest. And then there wouldn't be sirens anymore if I was in Houston. And then in Midland, there wouldn't be car washes anymore. Now, if I were to go to Pittsburgh, they've got some sirens, I believe, and I'm pretty sure they got car washes as well. But other than that, yeah. So the uncertainty of the name and kind of what content I'll be able to provide in the future, depending on what other companies I look at, who else I feel out, and just see where I end up. So we'll see at the end of the year if this name even fits really what I'm doing anymore. But I still plan to, no matter where I'm at, get as many car washes as I can, get as many sirens as I can. Even if I'm taking a trip home for just a week or a weekend, like I've done this past summer, and where I've gotten, 4, 5, 6, or even 7 sirens filmed in just one weekend and uploading them once a week. That's what I'll try and do, just to keep that content coming. And with car washes, well, once I'm done with homework, once I'm done with school, I won't have any homework that won't distract me from just, hopping in a car, driving down the road and getting a car wash, which is kind of what's hindered the ability to get those the past couple of years. I haven't had the same, or past year, God, what have I had this channel for? 3 years? So the past year and a half, homework's kind of really taken over in terms of getting car washes. So to sum it all up, at the end of the year, we'll see if the name fits, and hopefully I'll be able to try and continue to provide the content I've been providing. Thanks. Thanks for watching. I like the feedback given there. I definitely try to provide as much content as possible. And yeah, I've seen a lot of the washes in UK. They're a little different. I haven't actually specifically watched videos about them, but just from kind of what I've seen, they're definitely a little different. So any other questions anybody has? I think we're up to 9 viewers now. So, one just left as I said that. Anybody in here that may have not asked a question before, if you want to go ahead and ask a question. Tunnel system to normal. Okay. That brings me into another talking point, tunnel systems. As you guys may have noticed, tunnel systems aren't usually on my channel. Why? Because, frankly, I don't know much about them. Two, I've tried to learn more about them, but I personally just find the automatics much more interesting because there's a lot more going on that interests me in the automatic space. The machine has to think about where the car is at, has to accurately kind of measure it, and it just goes around and does its thing, all different cycles. Whereas you go through the tunnel wash, it's kind of the same experience with every tunnel wash you go through. You're going to go through, you're going to get your soap, you're going to get spinning brushes. Each piece of the tunnel wash is doing one specific thing. Whereas with these automatics, they've got their own brain. They're doing multiple things at once. It makes for a more interesting wash, and sometimes I think even a more interesting video, because one wash, the wash arm may work properly, go around, do its thing, might be programmed to do something different than another one. Like even if you look at the Soft Gloss Max 5 I just filmed, it was programmed to drop the front brush first, which is something you don't really see in Ryko systems, something I've never seen. So I personally find the automatic bays much more interesting than tunnels, and that's kind of why the tunnel systems don't appear on my channel too often. Yes, City Bus has 3 of the OG 700 series left. 718, 719, and 720. The 98 D60 LFs. They did just purchase 3 more used ones from Canada. They're 2003 D60 LFs, and instead of the Detroit Diesel Series 50s, they have the Cummins ISL. So those have the actual LED signs instead of God, I don't know what the other ones are called that 719 through 720 have. But so yes, the 700 series is still up and alive, and I don't know how much longer they're going to run the 98s, just because I know reliability on them is kind of decreasing. 719, for instance, I think that's probably going to be the most likely one to get retired, just because I think it's got a lot of frame issues, if I remember correctly, but it did just get a rebuild, it seems like. I rode it not too long ago, and my God, was that the smoothest running Series 50 out of 718, 719, and 720. And the latest thing I know that happened with 720 is when 717 died, they took the transmission from 717 and dropped it into 720. But hopefully those will stick around. I know 721, 22, and 23 that they just bought already have like 690,000 miles on them. So I'll be interested to see the lifespan of those. But the latest articulating they got is a brand new 2018 New Flyer. So they definitely weigh their options when purchasing new buses versus the cost of keeping old ones alive. So I don't think there's any plans to replace 719, 18, and 720 anytime soon. It hasn't been outlined in the Tippecanoe County TIP, the Transportation Improvement Plan that they publish every 2 years. Mainly they're looking to replace the older regular fixed route, or not fixed route, the regular 40 foots. And I think as 7, 18, 19, and 20 die, they're just going to be removed, not necessarily replaced. We don't have any double-decker transit buses that I know of, but I know some of the, and I don't really pay attention too much outside of the scope of the systems that are around me, but I know there are a few like tourist style buses that have double decker arrangements, but I think double decker might be making an entrance into the U.S. if I'm not mistaken. I just don't know off the top of my head, without doing any research, if any agencies have them in place. Oh yeah, I just googled a picture of the Volvo ones. Yeah, I've seen those a lot on basically TV shows in different countries or online with buses in different countries. That'd be really neat to see those in the U.S. But I don't know if I foresee that happening, at least soon. That'd be pretty cool though. So I guess on the topic of buses still, I'm one of the main contributors to the City Bus Wiki page, so I've been trying to document every single bus that I can with pictures and videos. The latest rendition undertaking of that page I've done is added actual links of whether or not the bus has pictures or videos. So hoping to fill out that and have every bus documented by the time I graduate, which is going to be very, 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 very tricky. Picture-wise, not so much. That'll be easier. Ride-wise, that will be tricky. Like, I don't think I'll ever get a ride on 1701 because it's the Avenue. Maybe I'll pay for it just to ride on it before I graduate. But that one, since it's dedicated to a specific apartment complex route that's not tied into the student contract, chances of riding it are very low. Interesting that there's a pay station difference from the UK here, but a lot of the pay stations I've seen now are going to those new Unitech systems, which I actually like those. Those seem to work pretty well. I hate the Ryko ones. The stupid lady that talks. Like, I always purchase the top wash. Of course you do. You're a Ryko spokesperson. I like the new Unitech ones that are being placed a lot. They seem to work well. They seem to be very responsive and very fast. And the screens seem to be pretty nice on them. So we'll see how all those hold up. And yeah. Yes, I did. That was me. You're welcome. I went back. I was scouring YouTube for as many videos I could find, whether they were mine or not. The goal of this wiki page is not to necessarily shove my content down people's throats. It's to document as much as possible. So if somebody else has got videos of a bus, I'm definitely going to put that on there, just because it's documentation of it. It's that other person should get their work known too if they've taken video of it or pictures of it. So if you've got videos of more that I've missed out, definitely let me know. I'll throw them in the wiki. I'm even going to try and figure out making playlists for the videos. So if I've got a video of a bus, somebody else has a video of that same bus, they'll both be there. That way it's not, like I said, just me cramming down my content. No, you're good. No hijacking at all. Yeah, the code only pay stations, those are starting to go away as washes get replaced and payment systems get updated. But the barcode style machine's interesting. So is that like where they print a barcode out on a receipt and you just scan that and that has all your wash package information on it? No codes needed? Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any other questions? Probably wrap up in about 15 minutes or so if nobody else, or maybe even less if there aren't any other questions that people would like to ask. Okay, yeah, that barcode system seems real easy, real nice. I kind of wish that was in the US. Instead of having to reach over to the system and punch in the code, you just take your receipt and scan it. That'd be nice. I don't want a new project. Let's open this. So let's see here. Let's see how this works. So a lot of people asked about the editing software. So I don't have any sort of screen sharing stuff set up. So I'm going to do my best here to just show my screen. And I'm going off of my other monitor to figure out if I've got this lined up. So this is going to be interesting here. So for a typical project, if I open up the latest video car wash video I just edited, the 360 Plus. What I'll do is I'll just drag the different clips in here to my media browser, the project folder. I ingest them all off the SD card. So like here's the Lumix SD card here. I'll just find my clip out of here, drag it to the storage pool. I have two 1 terabyte hard drives that are backed up. And then they all go in my videos for the year. I've started an archive system. That way none of my old projects are all on the same system. That way if this system dies, they're still backed up elsewhere and redundant as well. So we'll drop them all into here. They're all named differently now. So they're named by which camera they're shot off of, as well as the location and the style of wash and the date I filmed it on. Because I've had trouble, if I record a bunch of videos, recalling when I exactly filmed this. Then I'll just go through here, take the clips I want, place them in the media browser, add my little wash intro, which is a pre-made video. So I just add that video in every time. And with the 4K footage, I have to scale it up 200% since it was rendered out in 1080p. So maybe eventually I'll make a 4K intro, but I haven't seen the need for it now. But so yeah, then I would just throw everything in here, adjust the sound as needed, so I'm not peaking. That's one of the things I've noticed with the new microphone is if I peak in that microphone, it drops almost drops all the audio coming into it exactly. So I've had to learn where to place that microphone when I'm talking and filming this wash here. But in Adobe, if it peaks, I'll adjust that down. And then it's just going in here and cutting the footage how I want it. And then if I export it, God, these 4K videos take probably 30 minutes at least for just a 10-minute video. 1080p stuff, that rendered quick. This 4K stuff is very intense. And for those of you curious, why I don't like this view. Change graph to logical processors. My system specs are the Core i7-8700K, so 6-core 12-thread processor. Currently have 48 gigs of RAM and NVIDIA GTX 1070 as my graphics card. So all that stuff combined is all the horsepower being used to render and export these videos. And Adobe is very CPU hungry. If I start rendering a 4K video, you'll see all 6 cores and all 12 threads maxed out at 100%. RAM shoots up to like 30 gigs used just by Adobe itself. And the GTX 1070 usually sits about 40% with 4K. With 1080p, it's the opposite. The GPU will be maxed out, and the CPU will only be at 40%. So I think I run into a bit of a GPU bottleneck or CPU bottleneck on the 4K footage. But so yeah, just some quick editing specs. But yeah, Premiere is very nice, very easy to cut through and render out what I need. And for those tuning in, since I had this open a little bit when I first opened it, a little preview of what's to come. Yeah, that's it. Another 2001. But just a little preview there of what will be coming in, I think, about 2 weeks that's scheduled to go out. I think might even be later. Let's see what YouTube tells me. God, I need to change that thumbnail on that live stream. That looks so bad. It's not going to come out tomorrow. There is one that comes out tomorrow, siren video, so stay tuned for that siren. So yeah, this won't be out. It should be out the 12th, this video, so stay tuned for that. But so yeah, now I'll put it back on me. Got a little sidetrack there, but that's okay. Hello. Oh, from Katy, Texas. You're not far at all. Not far at all. I'll be out there soon to revisit the world's longest car wash and get that documented in 4K. Yeah, I've never dealt with iMovie too much just because I don't have a Mac. I did have a Mac at one point, the 2017 Touch Bar, but I got rid of that. I didn't like multitasking on it. I couldn't figure out. Well, I could figure out how to multitask. It just didn't seem as intuitive as Windows when it came to multitasking. So ended up selling that, bought an XPS 13. That was a piece of garbage. And now I've got an Asus Q326 FA for my laptop. Desktop will always be Windows because I like building PCs. So. Yeah, I was reading that they were giving away the free car wash. I was kind of jealous that I wasn't there, but what can I do when I'm sitting in Dyer and a car wash is opening down in Texas? But yeah, I think once this stream hits about 45 minutes here, probably going to wrap up. So anybody else have any questions? To around 45 minutes for 720p video. Wow. How old is the computer you're rendering on, if you don't mind me asking? And yeah, I'll check out your channel and see what's on there. What made me want to film car wash videos? That's a really good question. I've always been interested in car washes as long as I can remember. I remember they opened up a BP by my house and they put a Laser Wash 4000 in it. And unfortunately, I never got to film that because that was the car wash that started everything for me, because I liked the Trifoam, I liked the name, and that was back when the little Laser Man was out there. So PDQ's little Laser Man definitely piqued my interest. And then as that progressed, kind of discovered they were online. I originally started watching Haiva's channel. He's got a lot of videos, definitely an interesting channel, to say the least. But he doesn't do car wash videos much anymore. But those were some of the first car wash videos I saw. And then the siren interest. There was a siren outside my elementary school. I used to be terrified of them when I was a kid. Absolutely terrified of sirens when I was a kid. And me being terrified of them kind of led to curiosity. And so the curiosity of doing all the research just made me interested in them. And through siren videos, I found more car washes as well. Found the elevator channel, and that watching the elevator channel's videos made me realize, okay, I can do something similar to this. So that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I want to do. And then warning sirens of Michiana, they were big inspiration for doing the sirens as well. So getting my interest for sirens in video format. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started. It all started with the little Laser Wash 4000 that unfortunately is no longer there. It's replaced by a soft gloss XS2. They did that a couple years ago. God, probably 10 years ago at this point. I don't remember. Time flies. Time flies. It's hard to believe it's almost August. Favorite car wash model? Favorite brand all over is definitely PDQ. I'm definitely, since that was kind of the one that got me into it, kind of biased for PDQ. But favorite PDQ system, I think, still goes to the Laser Wash 4000. Can't really put a good reason why. It's just whatever, like, because the dryers on the Laser Wash 4000, the laser dry dryers, they're garbage. PDQ's Max Air dryers, they're also garbage. But I've never really had, now I think about it, I've never really had any major issues with any PDQ systems I've been to. There was a lot of them that are just kind of lack of maintenance. And that might be said for some of the Ryko systems I've encountered issues with too, but I don't know. I think I just PDQ was the first I saw, kind of like Federal Signal. Federal Signal's the first siren I've ever seen. Was it probably, honestly, a 2 or 3 T22 back when I was, oh man, probably back in 2002. So I was only 5. I think there was a 2T22 down the road from where I used to live, and they got rid of it, and then now all I've known since is 2001s, and I think the 2T22 is my favorite siren. Mark 7 units, oof. I love the buzzer. The Mark 7 buzzer is real nice. But anytime I've experienced the Soft Wash XT, they've done well with the sides. They do a good job of cleaning. The dryers are great, but they can never seem to profile the hood correctly. Any soft wash or even choice wash that uses the brush, the touch cycle, don't know what it is, but they cannot profile the hood. You look at my videos, you look at Elevator Channel's videos, they just don't profile the hood. Oh, what car do I have? I have a 2011 Toyota 4Runner. I used to have a 2003 4Runner with the 4.7 liter V8. That thing hauled. That thing moved. But now with this new one, I like it. I just miss the V8. To Wash Tech, yeah. I think those are pretty common out there from what I've seen. It's just the Mark 7 of elsewhere. Yeah, having an SUV might provide a little bit of issue for some of the washes I've noticed, especially the design of the back window on my car. It kind of goes in, and then there's a spoiler here. So I think it probably varies by car a lot. Yeah, some of the older XSs can be good systems if they're taken care of properly. I just haven't necessarily found a well taken care of XS. It's been pretty good. Oh, I take that back. I think I had one in Winfield, That was pretty good. Yeah, I imagine a smart car would be quite interesting to have in a car wash. I wonder if there's actually like a minimum set in these washes of how, or like a minimum car dimension in the smart car is smaller than the minimum. That's interesting. Yeah, I see a lot of soft glosses that have been out of service with the top brush hanging down, but I wonder if that's just I think they're either hydraulic or air powered. So I think just when the system loses pressure. So I wonder if when you see it hanging down, it's because the system was shut off and it lost the pressure to hold it up. Because I imagine, I've never pulled on one, but I imagine it might not just come down that easy. Do you mean driving through with the top down on a convertible, or just going through a convertible with the top up? Because there's been a lot of people who have Jeeps that actually go through the car wash with the roof off and the doors off. It's pretty funny. You can find a bunch of those on YouTube to check out. The top up, I think, can definitely go through a touch-free wash. And then other certain convertibles can probably go through touch systems as well. Yeah, one of my friends did that with his Jeep. Went through a car wash with the doors off. He's actually the one, if you go back and watch the Laser Wash 4000 from Pine Island, he was the one when we were walking around the bay while it was going. And even stood out in the dryers. But all right, any other questions? Otherwise, I think I'm going to start wrapping it up here. I've never seen those washes you're talking about. I'll have to look at the Christ washes and see. All right. Any other questions? All right. Doesn't appear to be any other ones rolling in. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. I actually do have an Instagram for the Long's Car Wash and More channel. I kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you. So maybe I'll change it over to Midwest CWS and start putting more on there. There'd definitely be a lot of bus pictures on there. Could even do some siren pics, and I don't take too many pictures of washes, but we'll see. So maybe I'll launch that in the future. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for the 500 subscribers. Definitely looking forward to continuing on towards 1,000. That way I can get my mobile streaming back. I don't know why YouTube just decides to pull these features out from under the rug of creators like they do, but that's what they choose to do. So the mobile live streaming is unfortunately gone. I did it once and was going to try and do it again, but that's gone. But definitely got more videos coming. I've got 3 more siren videos that are going to come out the next couple of weeks. Going to try and film more when I'm home this weekend. So that'll probably add at least one more video to that list. And then as far as car washes go, my class is finished up, so hopefully I can get some washes before I leave Houston. So thank you guys very much, and have a great rest of the evening. Oh, one more question. No, none of that other stuff really interests me too much. Elevators do, but I just don't. I tried following up on them, but it's just something that I didn't care enough to learn too much about. But pretty much just fire alarm systems. That's another big one. Fire alarm systems are huge. When I get my own house, it's going to be wired with a commercial fire alarm system. So once I get more freedom to mess around with that stuff, that stuff will be pulling up or showing up on my channel more if I still have my channel by then. But so yeah, for me, it's mainly just sirens, buses, car washes, and fire alarm systems. But yeah, thank you guys again very much, and stay tuned for more content.